Pamojuba Javan Dugumba Gajula Manam Jada Jonje Dananda Zura Damjada Lama Laba Laya Jisozon Lazan Den Jamsong Alaba Tende Donjen Jabagele Zor Dagelo Chison Rovara Zinja Labdos Julam Dun Rovara Zinja Labdos Landruva Sebra Zinja Labdos Truai Yusan Javara Zinja Labdo So Ganga Denjan Javaran Jong Kapa Meba Je Meba Jeba Meba Ta Meba Ua Meba Ro Meba Da De Dume Dunji Me Chupanya Je Damba Zoba Sanja Mananja Damba Da Lo Janzar Du Tenje Zaba Lama Jija Gozon Doja Janlan Dada Dage Julan Bede Dage Temba Dan Sunja Jadon Jajan Banda Bara Sunja Labdo So that didn't Gampopa can then you can say Lam children Chinchingwa te Hubacabri didn't tell that Terenta Pimpa me Pichus Tinankata Jepa Terindo.
So today, picking up with these instructions by Gampopa, which comprise the precious garland of the Supreme Path, we are in the section or the category covering the 10 things which are of no benefit, and within that we are on number 8.
Tamboda der Tepe Chugro Hyokjang Chuyin Majena Chuji Lar in Sondon River Justi Be Pimba Mason. Tate Chitang Gampopa Koranke Tara Songarwa. Chu yin the Majena, the ni chu jog take a larng in Solondroa Yore song. Dande Nandon Carere Hubaina Tambong around so Chula de Bandaochi, de Banjo, the ni Chugola show. The ni Lujugone Teni Ta Chugolo Hyok de Teni Megewa Sapatang Teni Ngagoni Megewa Sapatang Yijigoni Megewa Sapatana Chena Teni Ta Chugola Hyong Yang Ji Ninson of a journey to Chandore song. Tambote Hinam.
So number 8 says, although one has entered the door, or although one may have entered the door of Dharma with faith, or here actually, the way it is, the translation that we have says, by entering into the gate of Dharma through faith without conducting yourself in accordance with sincerity is non-beneficial, as it turns out to be the cause of lower migrations, or the suffering of lower migrations. Another way to translate it would be, although one may have entered the door of Dharma with faith, if one does not act in accord with the Dharma itself can become the cause for falling to the lower realms. So in general, Gampopa is saying that if the Dharma is not practiced in the way that it is intended, or if the Dharma is not accurately practiced, or if the Dharma does not become the actual authentic Dharma, then even the Dharma itself can become the cause for negative rebirths, or lower rebirth in the lower realms. And so we, for instance, at this time, we can all feel like we have faith, and we have entered into the door of Dharma practice. But having entered into the door of Dharma practice, if we continue to engage in non-virtue with our body, speech, and mind, so through the door of the body, to accumulate negativities through the door of speech, to accumulate negativity through the door of the mind, then those negativities become the cause for inferior states, or the ripening of negative karma. And so even though we have entered the door of Dharma, if we continue to engage in non-virtue, then those causes still are the causes that are created.
Andala hako gorjepe karchimboje yore. Chu yinda majina chuji jor lang sonro sevatela kwa. Lintang tin norni kamaris. The choban jitin sumgung ke gongjig nana. Kakpa yeka nawa yenang son yore. Tate karesina lemde kutoni yong yore. Le gevala deva deva mato yongya kran yo maris. Le given debite nyarwanani mingo yo pa yina yang deva mato miya yo maris. Le megevala deva dunga mato miya yo mari. Karsi tenden debite deva chin shinkana mingo yo pa yina ya dunga mato miya yo maris. Tate ang jobaran bajik somjote deva chin shinkana ta nyarwa tsunga ke pe lina lamdo yorda. Mato tini choban jiktin sungung ke kakpa ye ka nawa ye nang sun tonda te ri de yore. Ten zang ona dikapsu chuji jesen larngin son ro shipe tong kang ri shuba ina. Tangbo soso tepa je chula tepa je chugo la shok. Chugo la shok sin ne tene tangbo lama give shinye tamje la lokta. Je kundepji ti odo teni chu ke ningbo kareri jang ninje jangchok sendang teni lemdel loa me ba tiong ba teni teleyan tondu tawa toni la so ba tiong du ta to sola teni nandung ha magone teni lokto hyo sumba lokparto ba mato ba lokparto ba wangi teni o tanko wala chamyak jorn drogri si no tepe karchim bochade yore maso hako goya.
So it's really important to understand what is meant by not practicing the Dharma, or when the Dharma doesn't accord with the Dharma, when one's Dharma does not accord with the actual Dharma. And so in that case, then it becomes one's this sort of distorted version of Dharma becomes the cause for rebirth in the lower realms. As this really is in line with what Lord Jigten Sumgön says in the Gongchik, when he says that which is prohibited is primordially prohibited, and that which is permitted or permissible or kind of encouraged is primordially encouraged, or it is primordially permissible. And so this statement is fully supporting the kind of primordial law or the natural law of karma cause and effect. That simply when a karmic cause is created, then the fruition always corresponds with the cause. There is no way to engage in negativity and then to have, as a result of that negativity, a favorable karmic outcome. Likewise, there is no way to engage in virtue or positivity and then to have that the result of that virtue or that positive karma have a non-favorable or a karmic ripening, which manifests as suffering, and so one through non-virtue, through the causes of non-virtue, or through negative actions of body, speech, and mind, no matter what sort of label one gives to those activities, or no matter how distorted one's perception may be with regard to those activities, if they are unwholesome causes, they will not become the cause for achieving rebirth in the blissful pure realm of Sukhavati. And if causes are really truly wholesome in nature, then they can never become the causes which result in unfavorable ripening, such as taking rebirth in the hell realms. And so first, in this case, for instance, if one has, through faith, as it says here, having given rise to faith and therefore entered the door of Dharma, so maybe initially, as a result of faith, one has entered into the door of Dharma practice, but then having entered the door of Dharma, if then one holds an attitude of wrong view towards one's spiritual teacher, if one with an attitude of wrong view, if one criticizes one's spiritual teacher and so forth, or not having really understood the essential aspects of Dharma practice, cultivating love and compassion and bodhicitta, if one hasn't really developed an understanding of the infallibility of karma cause and effect, then it is possible, for instance, that becoming familiar with concepts such as the view of emptiness, that then even that itself can become the cause for generating wrong view, for actually generating a sort of perverse perception with regard to this kind of faulty understanding of the view of emptiness. And so then not really understanding the Dharma accurately, then even the practice of Dharma itself could become the cause for falling into inferior states, for rebirth in the lower realms.
Pu tapo higoya de garchin borwa. Pena ngima chik pu tapo de kwa yapo lungoya de garchin borwa kwa yapo.
That's all.
Ngima chik Dwachitiri Siva. Peg love the Gare Larissa. Peg love young as on Jew down the son on a young girl. Then they so Jerry Larissa. That then of a child of your Guayabo Malona. Jerdown around so peg, Shibate Gypsy Malari Baguson Yore. Namdo Togu Chen, Namdo Solo like Chuchimotondo, Peg, she labne take Namdo the Chernang the dog Yoris. Then young Taragomja and Namdo the Hajang Jingwa Shechen a man, Tabo Chan, the Peg, she bought the Dad, Tin Yanko. Namto Tarate Jingwa in the Yas, Jingwa de Sanya get the Jigris, Sondoa. Teni young, cause Jingwa mean Tepa mean young, Teni that Namto the Motobang on a pajon, the Pegs on Tike order, the Motobang on a panjogers, Georgiris on that Mularabak the Nason Yure. Tena is Andorna, Peg Shibate, top the shirap. Songdun job Songjuk, Chad Yoruba, then Resuji Marawa Pekshibad, or ten of a child, or Nando Yabu Maguna.
So it's really important that we properly understand the inner meaning of the Dharma, and in all of its sort of different forms. So before there was a question at one point, one had a question in which they said, you know, who are we shouting pate to? In the practice of chud and so forth. So in the practice of chud, when one utters the syllable pate, then there can arise the question, you know, who are the demons that were scattering or that were shouting, you know, the syllable pate to? But actually, it isn't to be understood this way. So, for instance, as Jitsun Milarepa describes, when outer appearances or concepts that are bound up in outer appearances, when like the delusory, when delusion and delusory appearances arise with strength, then one can clear them away, or one can cause the discursive mind to become collected or to gather once again by reciting the syllable or by shouting or uttering the syllable pei. And likewise, when there's a great deal of kind of torpor or lack of clarity in meditation, with the utterance of the syllable pate, the mind becomes brightened once again. One can brighten the awareness when there is drowsiness or torpor through the syllable pate. And so pate has the effect of both clearing away or causing like the discursive mind or the distracted or discursive mind to become collected or settled once again, for mind to become settled once again, or to brighten or to clarify the vivid quality of awareness. And likewise, even if there isn't sort of sloth or torpor present, through reciting the syllable pate, this can have the effect of enabling a thought-free experience of awareness to be established. So it can cause one to kind of generate a state that is free of concepts or free of thought. So in brief, really, actually, the syllable pate is the union of method and wisdom, and so that is what that is the power, the energy that it carries when we enunciate the syllable pate. It has the effect of the exerting the power or energy of method and wisdom.
Ta tunda chik kare ang ha ko gore shubaina nga chik o ta nga chu go la hyo pusa mare chu go la hyo simple to tang en non turn da wazuna tang nin son lo ya je chaksari ti hinang je yo ro tanda teang de ke yo mare de kang ri sina chu go la hyo ba zamji pinyon da sunam samje ma chapa yore teni chugo la hyog sindu hyog chardu la gura chardu teni yang soso ke nyung mo be yewang de chorne nonter yong sipare nonter yong chardu nonter de la sosu nonter yamba ha ko ne shapa chi derwa teni shakpa chiya ke thap sanje ke tin yore tela lobjong chi ta tanda win yong go yore ma to tangbo ne o nga chugo la hyopu sa mare dikpa chi na nyawan ro gore tena samna teni yang samsar de nor yong go yore churang te pa ke chik le chi ba yin na yang pinyon samje ma cha pa jancho ke sem ke chik le chi ba yin na yang pinyon samje ma cha ba yo ba te shanti dewa ke song yore jancho semji jorna keji ki song do keji zamna chi ba yin na yang teni de na yin ke te lo ba ke tara chakchi ganga ma na song yo dume kangche ki teni karwa tong tsa sap mba tan je sangro song yo ro ta ta so samna ta na teni chugo lo hyugdu yang je semra mo sala semra ta nang manis
de shanti deva song karere jangsem keche
sanju janju semji jorna kechi ki janju sem chapsang la yo la imbe janju semji
chirang sung ba de yaboko ma sang da
janju sem kechi zam ji ba de ke ko bu zunam de ko ba ke nyang ta ta kantar ki tik nandun kare sna janju sem kechi zam ji en du so so sem na dagam za ke ko ba ke ji de donga de sen ro yo ro te sum je re
so korwa
ko dongar sel sina me pa cha te chora chanchok sem na lam se chanchok sem de se donga ko donga de ga chare de rang
so deni yang de chakchin gangama yang cha de sikchi kandere
chakchin gangama na dene dume yo ma chume dume u
rere
kangche ke tene de karpa tong de sak ba kum ba tan je sen do song do wa chakchin ganga man yo de tarang so
yeah la sa ta ko so tuchina and so if for instance one hears this and one thinks oh, well, there's a great risk then, really, in entering the door of Dharma, or maybe it's better not to enter the door of Dharma practice at all, because surely I will make a mistake at some point. Surely my practice will at times be mistaken, and then that will become the cause for going to the lower realms. So actually, that is not really a correct attitude either. That is not a good way to look at it. because merely the act of having entered through the door of Dharma is inconceivably immeasurable in its benefit. The benefit and virtue of that is really inconceivably vast. Once we have entered the door of Dharma practice, surely at times we will fall under the power of our defilements or obscurations and afflictions, and we will make mistakes. There will be times in which our Dharma practice is faulty or there are errors. So it is important then to recognize when our practice has deviated or when we have made mistakes. And so to be aware of those, to recognize those mistakes, and then to engage in confession, to do practice of purification and confession as the Buddha, according to the way in which the methods that the Buddha has taught. So to think, oh, it's best then just not to practice the Dharma at all, because once I start or have entered the door of Dharma practice, then there are bound to be faults or mistakes. Again, this is not... it isn't, it certainly isn't better to not enter the door of Dharma at all, because whatever degree of Dharma practice that one engages in is exceedingly powerful. Just even the single moment, even having an instant in which faith is arisen, even if faith arises even just for a brief moment, the benefit and the reach of the virtue of that pure mind state, even arising just for a single moment, is inconceivably vast. To give rise to a mind state of bodhicitta, even just for a short moment, is inconceivably beneficial and vast in the power of its benefit. So. As Shantideva says, if even for a brief moment one gives rise to the supreme intent of bodhicitta, in that very moment the suffering of samsara has been fully cleared away, or this has the power to clear away the suffering of samsara. Likewise, in the Ganges Mahamudra, Tilopa says, it is like even just a single moment, of recognition, or he's sort of likening this similar thing to being like a lamp that dispels eons of darkness and negativity, just like the light of a single lamp can brighten the entire space and clear away darkness, even if it has been present for eons. Once the lamp is present, the entirety of the space becomes illuminated. So in the same way, a single moment of real kind of pure intent has inconceivably vast power and benefit.
Chu gewa je drogo do sambu kulong sam jiwala sunam sam je machapa yore. Tenita tenda ke nam tha loju tena mangbo yore tenda ke phiung kola. Je sanje ke te ta karin no yo nga sibo tenga ma thapa chimpun do na yo na je na yore ta phakpa je che ke kar yung du tene phakpa de ken chutin phakpa de chutin la kora che ne te kunzang la mishalo na te nam te loji te he ke yo tene kora chen du tene phakpa de ke zupo la te sa yo ba ten chutin cha de jo la te la zupo te thou na tene te ke suna chimbo yo sa che loji chi yo ta te chapsang ne dara ten ke ma ta te la so ba mambo
So really, just to even have, the thought, just one thought that, with it sort of an inspiration to do something good or to practice virtue carries inconceivably powerful merit, or has a tremendous merit. Also, for instance, as is told by the Buddha in one of the sutras, Khenpo thinks it might be actually in the Sutra of Great Liberation, but also it's mentioned in the words of my perfect teacher, the story of the dog chasing the pig around the stupa. So even in that case, when the pig wasn't intentionally circumambulating the stupa, merely through the connection that was made on a physical level with the pig circling the stupa and making contact with the stupa, with his skin, with his body, that alone had inconceivable merit, which then propelled, him towards the final ripening of or entering into the path of liberation.
Tate chama tharto undu sunam tang sunam ayin bel chama lejumde la rale de yore. Tin namju ngarang so takbar lejumde se lakho yore. Ona le kare chene dev kare njunko yore sena laptung king teskal khabo yore. Nge laptok yo lapkume yin yang tamjin chen ba zopo sanji chumnin dege lemde churji nen chin de song yore. Ta tara pena ngacho tongya he ke yore zanyamala. Tutso na le kare chen dev kare mi te so pe hyapcha yabo yong ke yore. Tini tutso la yang tonang de tena chen na tini lemde la ya de o tenda we na insari sam sipo ha ko gore.
So even so with regard to what constitutes something that becomes merit, and what constitutes that the lack of something which becomes the lack of merit or the opposite of merit, we're always speaking of virtue and non-virtue in the context of interdependence or dependent arising and karma cause and effect, and no one can really perfectly identify, what karmic causes lead to, specific karmic ripenings or karmic fruits. Nobody can really properly or completely identify or see that. And Khenpo says, he doesn't claim to be able to see that or to know himself. But the Buddha, who is completely omniscient, and who can see the entirety of karmic interdependence in great detail, has taught or has illuminated or identified particular details of karmic causes that can be created and their corresponding results. And these are also illuminated in the Tongchak, and I forgot how to say that in English. I think it's the confession practice of the 35 Buddhas. Is that right, Khenpo? The Tongchak Inchikela Garela Gona Dingamendo.
35 confessional Buddhas.
Yes. Okay. So the confession of the downfalls to the 35 Buddhas, and which he says you're practicing together on Sundays, and so in that, then there are clear explanations. If we pay attention when reciting, there are clear explanations of karmic causes and their results.
Ta Tio to some la Lo Jang, Chuchini, Hijang, Nyamsa Malana, Chikar, Lant Chirjumi be Pimba Meiso. Then the Chuba Nam Dake, Dake Chari Kandar, Tena in Zang, Naranzo Chula, Tusam Gole, Senda Yangsi Slapurwa. Ta Tusam Che Sardu. Che Sardu Lamna Gantar, Tusam Chiki Chiki, Yamni Nank, Tenda go Yore Madoke, Tambo Tusam Javoji, Yamni the Lo Yimbajini, Tutu Yimbajin and Jiak Samno Tambaina. Te Nordro Yore, Noria Jumsi, Naran took a chain the Matabari. Suchike o Nalo Tesla date of certain Yomare. Tena Yenzang Tata Tuba de Tata Semla Jar Chowa the Jar Chowa Deni Susuka Chowa Semdelan Jova Tanki, Tenraba Yongo Yore. Tenrama Jeba Yina Teni Tambochi Tuba no Mambo, Je Tuba de Teni Jula Jamata Samba Mambo Che Samba de Jula Jamata Bayina Teni Ta Sani around so Lutan Semni Kakala. Jarte, Chivenim Botella, Tati to some deke, or Nalsemla de Pinson, Samyak, Dengyong, Kalekabore, Sonre. Then I in Zang, Yamli Nango Yuri song.
So then, number 9 says, knowing Dharma very well and having trained the mind in hearing and reflection, if one does not practice, they will have nothing by which to take onto the path of death. So therefore, it is not beneficial at the time of death. So another way to translate this would be, having trained in study and contemplation, even if one knows the Dharma accurately, if one doesn't put it into practice, there is nothing to bring with one or, at the time of death, or there's nothing to bring onto the path of dying. We always, time and time again, hear about the importance of study and contemplation, the need to engage in reflection and contemplation in the context of Dharma. But then having engaged in extensive study and contemplation, then it is necessary to continuously apply that training directly in practice. So as one practices to apply what one has learned, as one engages in the path of practice, or time and time again. If we don't use having engaged in extensive practice or study and contemplation, if we don't then take that next step of actually applying it in practice, and then since this life is impermanent, since all things are impermanent and this life is fleeting, then we will have missed the opportunity if too much time goes by without actually taking that step. And so to engage in study and contemplation in such a way that it really unites or is integrated into one's mind stream, so that we really feel, or that there's a feeling with regard to the understanding, that the understanding is then also experienced or felt experientially, then it brings about a real transformation in the mind. Then this is what enables us to apply the Dharma in such a way that it actually has an effect on transforming the state of our mind. And if that doesn't occur, even if one engages in a great deal of study and contemplation, it won't really ever be integrated into practice, or it can be that it doesn't actually end up going, being sort of deeply applied in experience. And then there's sort of a disconnect that happens with regard to like what one knows and has studied intellectually, but then what one's actual real experience is. And so then in that case, if one doesn't have that a deeper level of applying study and contemplation directly to one's experience and practice, then one will feel at some point that the Dharma actually hasn't been of all that much benefit. Then in that case, it's difficult or unlikely to really feel as though it has been something that has been truly beneficial.
Tani chupate gewi hini tampa chonto yuring de jang rang la de gumi na gom yung tin tang jinlap mungo we pimpa me so. Tani kapsa su gewi hini de na de na soso la na deba gore song go yore. Ina gewi hini de la kandan gore sena. Dachirtang gewi hini gitsini mambo tinka yorete zo chikyo ta ngarang zo sanje la to yarwa. Sanje ge pali kindon song yore song do de kachang gonglu shiba na yi. Dawa lamne mar karma lamne dawa chi yinos. Te karen ro gore sina gewi hini de la yongzangbo zedi hiju yabo. Teni Khenpo goya te karchimbo cha de yore nguyu ne zorke pen ngarang zo lobda jing ro go na gigin de la Khenpo mina gigin nga ro ke pen ang zi ji jang go yo na gigin de ang zi hi mina teni gigin de lap to ma ra o te ko chinrek dan thun do sanji chum din de je dang chinrek kun thun ba ke ta de yung kin je ro wa tu ba na ne teni Khenpo 망투 시테 투바 망보여봐 투바 같이 망나 양 되니 샘때 자체를 로그여봐 대 가리선 쌈노 동야 탑람데 망르라도 망보 요장 되니 다티가라 따라 용장 해바드서 나나 조 치규데 노총 조시 단다 유바고레 게비신이 잡되지 따발 베캬 잡당 긴다 마힘 바로와 되니 지 Teni zo chekyu de jancho ke sem yin la pinya chu tsekji hinayang yin la samna tong tungi ta de ta beje jirtang ge hini de goku yore teni da ge hini la yung tin te ta changna yang so su ngene de ba tin bo chi mi ba ina de ba den ta go ngarang zo sanje ge salan roya ge hitin cha de yore Nangpa sanje bi chu ji drop go na churang ge simju la de ba ji mi na teni nangpa sanje bi ge chu de ge yung tin de sem ni ya chong to ge ma re ka se to ge ma re me to de ma su na ten ra yin zang teni so so ge bi xin yin de ne jun ring bo de teni yung tin na ji ma tong na o teni leb jin tang sanje chum din de ge nam de pe ji wa leb jin ge ka re se na nga lo chuni pa de chu nyam de deba yin te chu la mixa ka re chi tong su na wu dong pa gang tong song si wu da te ya bu ro wu dong gang tong a de te ni yin da nge chu yong tin jiang tong ma song si da te san je le yong tin mi ba ma re ko rang le ge tan da re song a re da nga rang zu lip jin lo chung ju ji go ya je yo ma re ning ji an ro ji cha de re ji ji na lip jin da ra sang je cha ju re nga zu jin ning je go ji ma re lip jin nga zu le ning ji de ju ri de kanda ta tan ra wa
So then number 10 says, it is not beneficial to remain with a holy guru for a long time and to have no faith and respect towards his teachings. You will not receive his instructions or blessings. Or an alternate translation would be, even if one remains in the presence of a sublime guru for a long time, if one doesn't have faith or respect, since one won't be touched by his qualities or blessings, it is not of any benefit. So it is important to have faith in one's spiritual teacher. And of course, this presupposes that the spiritual teacher, or it's also necessary that the spiritual teacher, or that one follow a spiritual teacher with the necessary characteristics, or a qualified, authentic spiritual teacher. And so we spoke the other day about some of those qualities as they are taught by the Buddha in the Pali Suttas. So some of the qualities, for instance, include having a like a peaceful or a wholesome and pure disposition, being learned, and actually being learned is really important. Being knowledgeable or learned, actually this is really just very sensible. For instance, if we wish to, even in an ordinary sense, if we wish to study something in school, in order to really get anything out of it, we need a teacher who knows the subject well. So for instance, if I want to study mathematics, then in order to really learn math, the teacher needs to be really skilled or knowledgeable on the subject of math. If the teacher doesn't know the subject well, then there won't really be any real understanding that is gained on the part of the student. So this is really just kind of logical, or in line with kind of a sensible, kind of logical way of thinking. And the teacher should have an extensive training through listening, or studying the Dharma themselves, or through abundant listening. Then one develops a vast and open mind. And so then one becomes more capable of accurately guiding others, and likewise, the teacher should not be distracted by worldly concerns or worldly gains, such as wealth and so forth. They should be unconcerned with those things. But most importantly, the spiritual teacher should have bodhicitta. They should be motivated by the sincere wish to be a benefit to others, so that really all of their actions, even a single word that is uttered, is done so with the objective of benefiting others in mind. So for a spiritual teacher to have a really stable regard for others' benefits, or to have really stable bodhicitta is absolutely crucial. This is the most important quality. And then in that case, it's important that the student have a really solid faith, that their faith be really stable, be really solid. And then the relationship becomes a basis through which, or that really forms the foundation of one's path to awakening. That itself becomes the direct cause for awakening, or reaching the state of Buddhahood, reaching the state of enlightenment. Because through that, then all of the qualities are developed. If there is no faith, then there's no way to receive the transmission of one's teacher's qualities. One won't be able to blossom, to open up, or to blossom into all of the qualities and attributes that can be developed in such a relationship, like the blossoming of a flower. And so, in order for that to occur, one has to first see accurately the qualities, the extraordinary qualities of one's teacher. And then it is through seeing that then those qualities are also able to be developed within oneself. To not be, for instance, or on the other hand, an example of staying for a long time in the presence of a spiritual teacher but not seeing their qualities is like the example of Devadatta, who was known to have said, I spent 12 years now with the Buddha, and really I don't see anything all that special about him other than this giant aura that surrounds him, other than the aura of light that encompasses him. I really don't see any real difference between him and myself. Dini kare sungin?
Dini ta lebjin la ngarang ta sanje le yongti mi pa mari lebjin khurang ka manthong pare was.
And so it isn't, of course, the fact that it's not that the Buddha lacked qualities. It was that Devadatta was incapable of seeing them, or that he simply didn't perceive them. Oh, okay. Kare the du chung chokshi.
Choshi.
So the
choshi goro.
Yeah. So the other quality that was mentioned that I didn't translate clearly was that also the spiritual teacher should have few desires and great contentment. So he's easily satisfied and has few desires, or he's content with few desires.
All right. Danita Kantar ngaran so sanje hibate soso ke semnang la yobare te as sangwar sibal da jepar sibala teni tepa la rale du yuris sangje zondra sang de marek pat sopa sangje ist.
So actually, the Buddha is our own mind. This term Buddha is actually referring to the qualities of our own mind. And in order for the real meaning of the term Buddha to function within our own mind or in our inwardly, this is dependent upon faith. So, for instance, the first term in the word Buddha in Tibetan is sang, which means to purify. And so what is being purified or cleared away is ignorance. And then with J, this is referring to the blossoming or increasing of all of the enlightened qualities.
Tadong ngaran supena gom japene kapso gevi hini mina tarong ngaran so ndangke gamare perna gom jadu ta chaja chimpo gona re yinda jokchin kare gomna yauna che chetang ngaran so hine la so gom gom de la nyam mambo che ya yor gom nyam perna Devanyam, Salvanyam, Matopanyams. Teni Devanyam Chiendu Susu Zubo Ganla Yinke Tsunk Trela Sobag Zubo Ten Zubo Che Debayina Deva Tarong Deva Serjortavia, Deva Sortavia, Degan Sanket Devanyam Stia Yoris Sarvanyam Shibate Tani Penang Kamba Tongban and Simo Kambo Simo Manak Kambo Tongbanana, then it double Wu Harwana Yinko. Lokawayana ko Tandakas Salami Yambatandakis Salvanyam. Teni Tongbanyam, Senari Matopanyam, Serate, Sosola Tendanyam de Jendu, Ta Mayimba Jek Sosoke Amchogan Ramla, Tong Mazo Tongbuya, Tongbuya, Tenda per denayang, Drataso Mutuba. Tendake on sangaran yi tendake nyam jia yoris nyam gom jia nyam li jin du che tenda da tompo labya yin yang ti kapso ngarang zo ka o ta ngang ne thar tho ke lam te la lepya samne teni yang te lam te la kon ro ya ke chung yor ti kapso yang tenda ke che la lebya ta dong ge bi ni go yor ngarang zo ro pa chinki Oh, Churang Tarong Pena Chaja Chimbo and a te Gomi Chunga Capsuridas, Gomi Chunga Capsuniam Tandrashagrida, Teni Gomi Drimbu Capsu, Te Tachurang Yam Te Gomi Drimbu Caprida, Gomi Drimbu Capiniam Ridas, Teni Tachu Gomi Chimbola Matsa Malakudu, Tachu Gevihini, Go Yorea. Ta Gomi Chimbo Tarsin du, Tachurang Sangje Yungu Yuri Tatika, Tacho Gevihini Go Yomare. Titi Gaps Chorang Tepa, Goyo Mare, Senayang, Go Ranking, Nima Yuna, Nimala Wu, Yobanayi, Chorang Tepate, Yundin Chada Yuri. Perna, Tatanga Jupsin Roma Carmola, Jin Dundoa, Telam Papu Nordun.
Oh, young chair,
Jupsin Roma Carmola, make Dundoa, make Dun Lapa, Tang, the Sokasakala. So, Papu Nordun Sunjians, Papu Nordun Anke, Tap Nors in Ko Nima Yuna Wu Yobana Yiran Yink Tepate Yodi or Tekaps.
Kongta Yapo Koma Somte Dun Pape Nordun de Roma Ge Ganere?
Gypsum Romala, make Dun Yorwa, Gypsum Romala.
Ah, yeah, that's all. Make Dun.
Gypsum Romala, make Dun the courage in the Yore.
The Pape Nordun.
Papa Nordun Sunjiri. Papa Nordun and Norche Carreri. Tepa Norwa. Tepa Nor. Or that Gypsum Romala Tepa Yorwe. Yore, Gypsum Roma Tepa Yore. On the Gypsum Roma, Taron Yin la Chap Hion the Gorbe. Marie, Konima Yuban, Nima Yuna Wu Yubana Yinko Ranches Yores.
That's all. So why is it that it is so important then to have a faith towards one's spiritual teacher, to have faith in one's teacher? There are many reasons. So in particular, when it comes to meditation, when we're engaging in meditation, it's very important to rely upon a qualified spiritual teacher. If we don't have the guidance of a teacher, then there are many possibilities or many points at which one could easily go astray in one's meditation. So whether one is meditating in the context of Mahamudra, whether one is meditating in the context of Dzogchen, whether one is meditating even in the context of calm abiding or shamatha, there are many very powerful experiences that can arise in meditation. And so it's really necessary to have guidance, to have clear guidance in the midst of those experiences, or when those experiences arise, to receive some instruction or guidance. So for instance, there are among the diversity of meditative experiences that can arise, there are the experiences of bliss, clarity, and non-thought. And for instance, with the experience of bliss, this experience is so so powerful that the bliss that pervades the body is so intense that even if someone were to poke you with a weapon, such as a knife, your body would only feel the sensation of bliss. Then with the experience of clarity, this experience it can be something along the lines of, even if one is sitting or is meditating in a really like a dark room, a dark space at night, the quality of luminosity is so brilliant or so bright, so strong, that it is as if that room is completely illuminated by moonlight, as if the beams of the full moon are illuminating the entire room. So it is one's experience is extraordinarily vivid and clear, luminous. And then with the experience of non-thought, it can be so deep or so profound that it can be something like even if someone were to blow at full volume the sound of the conch right next to your ear, you wouldn't even feel it. You wouldn't even hear it. And so in this way, the experiences that can arise in meditation can be really very powerful and very strong. And if one doesn't have the guidance of a teacher, then it can very easily become the case that one thinks that one is at levels of attainment that are actually higher than where one is actually at. In fact, one can think, oh, now I've really actually reached, liberation. Now I'm actually enlightened, or I've actually kind of reached the pinnacle of attainment. And that is not the case in those examples. And so therefore it's necessary to have the guidance of the spiritual teachers so that they can properly indicate where it is that you are on the path and how you need to adjust your practice in order to progress on the proper path without going astray. So for instance, in the path of meditating on Mahamudra, a spiritual teacher can clearly identify, now you're on the level of sort of the lesser level stage of no more meditation or non-meditation. And then, you're at the middling level stages of no more meditation or non-meditation, or now you're really at the sort of pinnacle of non-meditation. But then following that, then if one attains enlightenment, which is the next stage, or once one has really attained Buddhahood, then it is not necessary to rely on a spiritual teacher, because even though actually one does still have faith, it isn't as though faith is no longer present, but the faith is not towards an object that is seen as somehow separate or apart from one. It is like the radiance of the sun's rays. There is no, the rays that the sun is fully manifest, and then there are the spontaneous qualities or the luminescence of its rays. And so then the qualities such as faith become like that, just like a kind of the natural radiance of the sun, without any specific object toward which those qualities are directed. So for instance, in the example of Gypsum Droma or Tara, she has 7 eyes, and these 7 eyes represent the 7 noble, the 7 jewels of noble ones, or kind of the 7 noble jewels. And one of these is the jewel of faith. And in the case of, and that jewel of faith is like the radiance of the sun's rays, the sun and then the radiance of its rays. So obviously, Tara does not need to rely on the protection of some outer object. So she doesn't need to have a faith directed toward an object of refuge or protection. But she herself is sort of the radiance, or naturally possesses the qualities, the natural radiance of these qualities, such as faith, the jewel of the noble jewel of faith. Like she herself is like this example of the sun and the radiance of the sun's rays as the sort of full abundance of noble qualities.
Oh, yeah. That take Pimba maybe chucho de Husinda, Rando Rank Sebi chucho so. That is so. Tamzan Sosok non-tur Sosok Hakoyong Yuri to the Danganane. De Della Danga Santo de Kevas de Yapori. Ne Kakitaya la mi Katsa Chimboji Yorwa in a nail Pimbo Yor Tinayi Chaka Yore.
So then the next section, so this completes the 10 things that are not of any benefit, and then the next section is that of the 10 self-accomplished sufferings, or we could say the 10 self-inflicted sufferings, or the 10 types of sufferings that are one's own doing. And so here, with regard to this, it is important to understand one's own mistakes in order to be able to correct them, in order to be able to bring them on or to transform them, or sort of redirect them in positive ways, so that they become so that they are effectively remedied, and so it is like, for instance, it's like, and sometimes this isn't an easy process. Like, for instance, if somebody is afflicted by a particular type of illness, then there might be a medicine which is really bitter or unpleasant to take, but that bitter medicine is particularly powerful. It has the most benefit.
Zami be chimtap Jiba de Limbe Zinduk Subatan Rate Rando Rank Jepa in Songwa Rando Rank New Bains. That take Nandon Kare Song Yorihuna. That's also the Jinjitin Dike Choa Longju Drabiak and Juntang mi Nuba mi Yindo. Teni Nam Zone, Chem Zone Debate, Teni Rando Rank Jeparis. Kaisenta Soso Lache Chem Nam Kasoya ke Juntang Yomarwa, Teni Kale Kuma Jaya Tang, Tendakan Gozo Yonkura. Tenda Inza, Rando Rank Jepari, Perna Sepeta, Perna Tok Sujana Teni Tamasoso Soja Chanurua. Tina ye deni control jena tini jima so term tondora.
Kongta Khenpo nga tesa go tom gayin sana the NGK the gyurtang digi yona mena teninga yang buye te yamba teninga gande yena nga yang tata kotu masong yena yang NGK de tri yorwa karsi de pena Trapa ani mazone tene de chetang de chimta ke chimba nangshin degi yore yena yang changsa magyana tene kupa re dawo tenda dawo rebe de yosamare samsong de chetang dangbo pena changsa magyapa yena yang dini di jela o changsa yago dini di chimsa zingo norware yeah sorry there's it's
mama chorang kha me te chek jibo chorang cha zong yu ge ra donda chama tin ndo de yora tawa ane jibo mare te chama la ko yore tawa ane mai ba tene chem zong de denkin yorwa tene yapo denkin yorwa tene tawa ane mai ba chem zong tene jini soso kendo jimi tam pu kha de so ma tan tene ko ma jang ke yorwa te chutsek jibo zong jor den kwalin ko yore er chapchang la ko yore ta ane
dini dinda gandere de
tenge lap chaim ba chorang la nuba chem ndu jimi pu so chap jazoglo soya ke nuba mi yindo tene chorang ke jimi zong pu zo yamna chorang jimi na choga zong pu zo tene chem trab zong de du tene chorang ke pu ta jimi yamna chorang jimi na choga da pu kha so to ko yo mare chorang la le ka yo mare 다 저랑 그거 맞아 양고 쪽으로 이긴로는 초양 고 쪽으로 된다 제대 되는 참나 토송아 되니 추그 돈을 쌓나 득바사송 딱거 제비 득바 가래 요래 대 참아요 대 추드나 해그 요라 대 인자 되니 소소소소로 란도랑 그 수바레스 책도 드라마 저더니 갈라가 찬도
La so de tenda nangshin indicate la kong de da nangshin tuning your ma de nune de zawo gogendo tredo indicate la kasi zawo mena tene norware tredo
ta zapo zo
yeah
nga mentun yo 저런 라야 de ina tata ngara ni chama sapo zo ne rodo yak so yang yong thomar jin zo pajer ga tata nge 저런 라비와 요로 때 적여나 다 자자 jan dai mina ya tes rewando
No, that's so sorry. There's the line was confusing because of the translation, which actually is mistaken here. So what it should read as is to be without a spouse, but then to get married and take up the life of a householder is like drinking poison. It is self-inflicted suffering. So what is meant by this, Kimbola said, is, for instance, there are some, so even if they're not, for instance, like a monastic, and so they haven't entered the monastic life, but they don't have the ability to really lead the life of a householder in a harmonious way. They don't have the resources or the ability to make a living and so forth. And then, and even though that is the case, they take a spouse and they lead kind of a worldly life or the life of a householder, and then they have to resort to like negative forms of negativity in order to survive, such as stealing or something of that nature. And so then in that way, it becomes like drinking poison. So it is a self-inflicted suffering.
니바데 주미 딕바 지바데 nyumba yanglan chungwa dang rade rando rangge jebayin. Ta tatang aran su chu zhuya gan tujin chamsang yudu dani chu ma jebayin na da nyumba labdu ko sem tantang me ba cha sumarwa de ke dani ko dani yangsa chingbo tamje la dani pe halan shinkana yin tong he dani de zolan chung si barwa dani chung na dani so je sumarwa dinan yin zang 다른 아주 취지 거를 맞아 득바 제대나 되니 핀도요 말이죠.
So then number 2 says to be devoid of dharma and to commit negative deeds is like a madman jumping off a cliff. It is self-inflicted suffering. So to not practice the Dharma, to be without the Dharma, and to engage in negativity, then it is like someone who like it is here, the example is that it's likened to, throwing oneself from a cliff, like committing, like a madman committing suicide. It is really self-inflicted suffering.
Teni somebody yin la sorzo chipate to jin che kazen rimba danda de rando rang chipa yin so. Da yin la yoji chena tato yoji che pate kin rebe de dungha so la mi yong yo zang. Teni sama na ti dong de de ba chi ma yin la te na. Te ma de karsi ti kaze de ki hya song na. Teni jima ta so ko ma yin se pa ke na ni so la yorwa. Then I think so Tamla Tondogova, Chugotone, Chutamla, Benelemdeg Tone, Lemdeg Tamla Tondori, Jaka in a Jaka Tamla Tondo, then so Bezung Handoya, the Dunhamambo Yora, the Chibariso.
Then the Miss Shimba, the Nadi Kaze Dukdan Yoba, the Miss Shimba Treba Nangshin, Labkure.
Then Rimba Labdin the social Rimba Lagmara, Kazin Rimba and Rate Sondoa. Din Hila and Din Palakundua, take Nando.
Oh, Parlagure, so Zagio Mare, de Parmishimba Latigura.
Nekapzana, Malapat Kazin and a dog din Tena, Matelanogri, Tama Sosol Pam de Yura.
Okay.
Yoji Chen there is.
So to deceive, number 3 is to deceive others is like choosing to eat poisonous food. It is self-inflicted suffering. But actually, I think the way that it sounds like Khenpo kind of explained this is also could be understood as like actually, like giving food with poison, serving food mixed with poison, and that even so to deceive others actually ends up only falling back on oneself. If the harm doesn't come to others, but or the harm really in the end comes down to oneself. Just like if one were to serve food mixed with poison, and then this would end up being something that then would be discovered by the authorities, and then the police would arrive at your door and they would take you away and lock you up. And so because it is against the law. And so in this way it ends up becoming like a self-inflicted suffering.
This also gets about the Chipa Charita, Soso Kazena do didn't suit about Chipa Charita, Lemdelan.
But it's it is in contrary to karma, cause and effect, and so actually it becomes like eating poison oneself.
Yabate le chong mapun chipate game chuluk chunga than rate rando rang chepains. The making a pun chipala, sosola, then the some notice jachimbo. Then the gogoris, then it namina, then it been a game okay chuluk chunga than rates, the game was that lochimbo ching tandageta north. Real north sochong chidit north so tni kasakala yas tramd din soson roya kne ba yomara kamba poya kambala tni north so seru rok chit marte tab re sondwa.
So then number 4 says to entrust leadership to one of little intelligence is just like asking an old woman to guard the cattle. It is self-inflicted suffering. So to give a really like big and important task to someone else, or to entrust that position to someone who really actually isn't capable of it, or doesn't really have isn't really fit to carry the responsibility, someone with little intelligence, or someone who kind of lacks a kind of really kind of expansive mind or expansive view, then it's likened to putting an old woman who isn't in charge of guarding the cattle, or herding the cattle, when she is incapable of accomplishing that task, because she is elderly and she doesn't have much strength in her body and isn't able to walk very far, and also maybe doesn't have her full kind of the same level of awareness that she did in her youth. Her like faculties, her might be starting to decline at that point, or at that age in her life, and so she doesn't really know how to properly even identify where she is, for instance. So in that case, there would be no sense in putting somebody in the position of taking care of the cattle. So to put somebody who is really not up to the task in a position of power or leadership is a self-inflicted suffering.
About Laksam ji Yindun la Muzum para Chubje Randun la Zumba ne Longa, Chantang Koa and the Rando Rang Chebains. Tatarangan to Laksan number Tabuton Gon Ying Dun Zungo Rite, Telemazum para Soso Tsendeke Donda Ni de Tratula Sobatla Zundobane. Teni make long do longa such a tumba in la dena, teni ta Tarang Cordola Mato, Kaya Mando Chigmarwa, Tateta Vichiriso. Nalson do Zarota, Gampopa, Conchin Zarawa. Gampopa, Nalson do Zarawa Lai. Nala.
Chiranga, Smolapne. Okay. So then number 5 says, not to labor for others' benefit through an excellent motivation, but to labor only for self-interest by the 8 worldly dharmas is just like a sightless person wandering the northern oasis, which is a self-accomplished suffering. Or another way to translate it would be to not put effort motivated by goodwill toward the benefit of others, but instead to strive for one's own purpose or one's own benefit motivated by the 8 worldly concerns is like a blind person wandering endlessly in the wilderness. To not be focused on the welfare and benefit of others, motivated by an attitude of goodwill or good intention, or a desire to accomplish the welfare or benefit of others, and instead to maintain focus on the limited benefits or the limited goals of this life, thinking of accomplishing only one's own aims motivated by the 8 worldly concerns, is like a blind person just wandering through the wilderness, or wandering through the empty plains without really knowing where they are going. And so Khenpo made a joke and said Gampopa must have been speaking to him directly. So he said this for him, he said.
Joke
And then he said it's not actually a joke, it's true.
Trukpa Mandrup Jawa Chimbo Lanjova ne Nyamchon Kur Chimbo Kuratandra de Rando Rangi Cheba Inso. Ta Mandrup Jawa Chimbo Zade Tere Talo Hinka Jingmuna Yang Sanang Hinka de Yanjar Jigzogdwa Mogdwa Yang did Lojima Jimogotendo. That train drops on Laya Legat to Yonga Mirvan Cork Legate. Ta te tabachi lambezung chindo batene, teni zubo la te top mi joje keteni te chala jigo chimbo je korna, kortoku marewa teni soso kangan chejirwa, te te chigbare so.
So then number 6 says, undertaking a great endeavor for impossible tasks is like a weak person trying to carry a heavy burden, which is self-accomplished suffering. Or an alternative translation would be to undertake a great and difficult endeavor that you have no way of accomplishing is self-inflicted suffering. And so actually, this can really be applied to all of the kind of worldly tasks that one becomes easily caught up in or sort of lost in trying to accomplish. There's never any end to worldly tasks. We always think, today, even if we think, today I finished this one or I accomplished this, then there are always a kind of an endless stream of other tasks that need to be fulfilled or need to be accomplished, and so there never there's never an end to these responsibilities, these kind of endless activities and responsibilities. So to always be striving or putting effort into something which is actually an impossible thing to achieve is to carry a burden that we're actually incapable of carrying is nothing but self-inflicted suffering.
Dambate ngajarje lama tamba tan jarbuka chedu subate wambu chin duma torwa tan rate rando rang cheba inso ta soso ngajar ke wangi tene lama tan tene sanje ke sungu chutamje chesu jindu tene soso wangje yun wangte le tine tene mangba ke dunam dawoje Mao Gundulan Zamboji Yuna, te Mipa Zoya Yorba, Majina, Dulan Yabochi Yuna, te Mipa Zone, Sosuko one chat Piju down. Teta Zugabata Chipare, Sonrita.
So then, number 7 is disregarding one's holy guru and the teachings of the Buddha is like a ruler ignoring his counsel, which is self-afflicted suffering. So when one has sort of an attitude, out of an attitude of pride, kind of having a stubborn insistence to do things one's own way without really following the path that is clearly laid out by the Buddha, by following the teachings of the Buddha Dharma, and to insist on sort of doing things one's own way out of stubbornness, then can be like even though there is a clear or good path laid out for one, one sort of undermines that through arrogance by not heeding the advice of one's teacher or the Buddha, and so even though the ability is there, one chooses to follow the good path. One chooses not to take it. Just like the example of a ruler or a powerful person ignoring the advice of his counsel.
Jepa. Nyamni Yorn Manaka Ton and Dembate, Reda Lungs Papa and Rate Rando Rang Chepa Yinson. Tate Zo Nyamni, Rutula Yunkin Tamje Kago Yorwa. That's also Rutula, you gone Nyamni Ji Tanaji Go Yuri, Tenra Maji and the Ma Troncher and Ma Tongyong mana jitin jitang jitin badanyam tana ne andu tene rada sota jitang rada sora tombo gan ne giri te yang cham chan che te korang che ragandap ragisham tana ma pa ande tene mumpa tamje ke se chok chok cha ge yorwa te ta yi chan ro gri song re da te so lai la po chu do da ko tsek ton.
Awesome. So then number 8 says, giving up the meditation to come back to worldly life is just like a deer wandering down into the valley. It is a self-afflicted suffering. So here it says, for its possible death. It actually doesn't say that in the text, but that is, of course, what is meant. This advice is meant in particular for instance, retreatants or someone who is meditating in retreat. So to give up the meditation or practice and to instead to come down into like the village or the town where there's activity, or to join in worldly activity, abandoning one's meditation, is like a deer who ventures or wanders away from the solitude of the mountains down into the valley, where hunters are waiting and can easily kill him. And so this then is pretty easy to understand. And this is a self-inflicted. Sorry.
The
Okay. Data break cheju yore?
No. We just take 15 minutes for tea break.
Okay, so we'll only take 15 minutes for break, so he will still speak for 10 minutes.
Nyung me yi him ma chong wan dun zi tu be yin war si ba de ka den hyok ba chak ba dan ra de ran do rang ke che ba yin so ta nyung me yi hi si ba de ma chu nyung ma si ba de gang tar ta chu tham je ke ne lok de cha de yor wa ta de ma chong ba che te ni je tang ke che ndu zi Trubakalaka Tanamambo Chidu, Tene Dan Kading Zuding as a Chung Yua Jajar Chungchi, Koshopa Chaba Danda de Rando Rang Cheba Yins. Chetan Tambo Pet here again Pet. Garrison Chetan Ja Kading Jajarte, Tene Chatamchek that Javo Tabchad de ko shoba tsar be chen thoyu de re tenda yen sang tarang arang zo be na tumba sanje ke de u thangka de u gang la jajar chungchi tana zhe yo re de zya de chunzi gang ri shina sanje chumdin de ko zawa marik bale Jarwa Marik Bale, then Marik by Yonsubas Sangsong take it on Darba. Yene Tender Jajarte Shopa Chasona, Tenin Portogomarwa. Tin I yinke Naranso Semke Numa the Jongo Yori, Tubala Yangsona, Tenin the Gay Maris.
So then number 9 is not to encourage the natural wisdom, but to be disturbed by the elaboration of distractions is like a bird or like a Garuda with broken wings. It is a self-inflicted suffering. Here then, to not dwell within the recognition of the natural state, or to abide within primordial wisdom, but instead to be caught up in the activities of delusion, or to be instead following after the delusions of the mind, becomes like a bird, or like a in this case, a Garuda with broken wings. So just like a bird with a broken wing still has wings, the power of it has been broken by our involvement in distraction. And so, in this example, the Haruka, or did I say Haruka? I meant Garuda. The Garuda is like the king of all birds. So the power of their wings and the span of its wings is so there is like the most sort of impressive and the most powerful of wingspans. And so, there's always, or often, there's an image of a Garuda depicted in tankas of the Buddha, or the tankas of enlightened, of the representational deities and such. And so above the sort of halo of the Buddha, there's sometimes a Garuda depicted. And so this represents the Buddha having conquered the root of samsara, which is ignorance, or having cleared away the obscurations of ignorance. So to the broken wings of a Garuda is like, or this symbolizes in this case, the inability to recognize or to abide within the recognition of the natural state, and instead to be caught up in the delusion of ignorance. So in that case, then, it is self-inflicted suffering.
Tatendu Numa Kungo, the John du Kadabachongore, Huna, the Ne Taranima Gang, Ta Kunchim, Mapam Jam Socha, Ta Kong Trap Mambumun, Chungarawa, Kong Sonyore, Nanti, Nang Tuk Mashobars, Naranzo shoot on Nang Yura Semla, Nang do, Nantante. Hakogori songre. Nantan Karare now you go to Yimi Zadar. Konaya Yeji Parkala Yuni Tikan turn now you what I was Samson and Nori. Then Nan took short songre. Then Zang now do ko Contrang something on turn now you were Mato Pernanka and Jahiranaki. Mato get Tambonica Hili Timboji wood in its a Harama Dramaris. Teni now at any rang, Tombaris, Tomba teke, Tontok Mahirba Goris on the Tonti, Tontok Mahirba song. Tontok Mahirba Gangri, Shuna. Ta Tim Deris, Kot Tim Dery in Bijim Sink Tomba Chayong, sit Titon and Royora. That don't need the and Rondu, Tilamba, the Tim Derkaton, Tilambangora, or Terry, Tatandragaton, Teni Numaki hit Tangoshi. Numa hit the more hits and a tiny June John. That June John down the Taron Halon in Mambo Yondo. How then does one sustain the natural state, or how can we think about, what is meant by this reference to that which is the natural state, or the primordial wisdom of the natural state? So the Nyingma master, Kunkin Mipam Gyamso, has said, when appearances arise, do not fall mangsu. Mashur, suk sana. Ta non-term Mahovandavari, non-term Mahova. Zota Mahovanda.
So like don't fall under sort of, or don't fall into kind of the form, grasping at the form of the appearance. Because, and that what is meant here is that whatever appears within the mind, one has to understand the way, or whatever appears to the mind, one has to understand the way in which it appears. And that the way in which it appears is that it appears without any ground. It is groundless in nature. It is a groundless sort of display. But to attribute a ground to that which is actually groundless, then one falls sort of to the side of the form, grasping at the form of appearance, and so therefore then it becomes delusion, the nature of delusion, whereas whatever actually appears to the mind is insubstantial and groundless in nature, just like a rainbow that appears in the sky. But if there's some sort of stability or some real solidity attributed to that appearance, then one has already become mistaken about its nature. Likewise, he said, do not fall kind of to the side of or under kind of the sort of the form or the of emptiness, or the it's really difficult to understand how to say this, but so don't grasp at the empty, essentially, like don't grasp at the empty aspect of emptiness, because emptiness itself is dependent arising, or emptiness only exists, or emptiness only is not independent from dependent arising. And so emptiness and dependent arising or interdependence are indivisible. And so when one recognizes sort of the union of these two, emptiness and interdependence or dependent arising, then this is what is understood by sustaining the natural state, or the recognition of the natural state, which is primordial wisdom.
May every being ailing with disease be freed at once from every malady. May all the sickness that afflicts the living be instantly and permanently healed. O Sumji Neba Jenya Ba Nurda Nela Darja Robana Mala Ba Dadan Joma Meba Jo Janjo Zunjo Rumbo Je Maje Banan Jeja Jeba Nyamba Meba Yang Gondo Gondo Bewa Jo. Thank you very much.